Shake that ass, girl. Boop, boop, it, da, 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 do, 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 do. Beep, 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 dee, dee, dee. Shake that ass, girl. I wanna lick you from your head to your toes, and I wanna move from the bed down to the floor, and I wanna, you make it so good, I don't wanna leave. I don't know the last line. I apologize. Sorry, God. Sorry for saying that, God. I hope God didn't hear. I hope that my dad didn't hear that. I hope that my mom didn't hear. You never know if your mom's listening. What if your mom heard? Dude, you shouldn't say that. Your mom might hear it. What if your mom was around? She saw that. People in real life worried about their moms seeing their things that they do. Like you go out drinking, you might be worried about your parents. You might be worried about that. Let me overcome my fear of recordings, God. I don't want to think about the recording, but you know what? It just draws me back in. I can't hide that I'm being recorded. There's really just life to be lived out there, and but it's just going to sad. Fuck this. Fuck it. Fuck all of that. Fuck it. Fucking give power to the recorder. I love fucking give power to the recorder. That's my favorite thing. Oh, give power to the right, and give power to right and wrong. Give power to the law. The law, I need to abide by the law. I need to make sure that I'm doing right by what's correct, because I'm being recorded, because of the law, because of legal matters that hold me to that, well, that I needed to be recorded, because not only recorded, but recorded in the past. Like, I can't contradict things I said in the past. I need to, stay on message. The law dictates that you stay on message, so that you remain coherent to a consistently definable, identifiable point that people know, that people recognize. But it's like, it's just that I need to make sure that I don't sound defined like by the same phrases and things, shit that I said in the past. I better not be that. But also, it's just that people might be expecting something, or they might think that they could expect what you're about to do or what you're about to say, or just like the cadence, but that you would give power to other people to say that they would know about what you're speaking about. They could say what was the reason for you saying anything at all. The reason that I say anything at all is just because the reason that I say anything is because I just started saying things at some point, like there are better ways of explaining yourself. They're more honest. It's just, you don't want to cross anybody that might be listening that you're supposed to not cross. Like, you don't want to cross members of your family or your friends or anybody. Like, you would be worried about them hearing what you said and then taking it personally or something like that. You'd be worried about that in just saying anything at all, as long as there are things to be worried about. Like, it's not, you can be as honest as possible or whatever, but like, I'd say that I started making this podcast because of, like, this podcast isn't very Christian necessarily. I just need to get over that, it's being recorded, so now it's important. I like the approach better, that I just didn't think it was important, because you don't want to spread information. You don't want to be leading people in the wrong direction. You don't want to be responsible. You don't want to be wrong. You don't want people to, like, as if you're going to create a world for yourself where you absolve yourself of any wrongdoing you could do by saying, like, as if people aren't already taking your words incorrectly, because everybody just agrees to the point, like, whatever the word is. Everybody agrees to use these words, but they have formulated the words different in their mind, as if people aren't going to take what you said and then not hear it directly, not hear it perfectly. Like, as if people are supposed to hear you say, and then you have to be right all the time, so that they don't take it wrong. It's impossible to be right all the time unless you're a Christian. If you're a Christian, then you create a world where you're right all the time. You make it legally so. Like that's maybe a reason for the reality as a whole is and what I'm saying is that Christians draw a line at sinner where they're like they draw the line of their reality, they draw it around themselves to separate themselves from sinners, where sin is a word for missing the mark. But it's like Christians go further in their message. Like it's bigger, it's grander, where they are worshiping a supreme omnipotent God. They're worshiping a universal God. In the same respect, they draw the line of their reality just at people who do wrong, where to them it's like doing wrong is like they're outside of doing wrong, basically. But you see that that's true because they've defined that the people that don't coexist in their reality are sinners, people who miss the mark, people who do wrong. But basically, Christians don't absolve themselves from having to do wrong by making everything in their reality right, by separating themselves from sinners. But like they worship a universal God. Like this is how harsh their message is that they create a world where they're separate from wrongdoing itself, where like they're wrongdoing is what's wrong. Sinners are what's not allowed in their reality, where they draw the line at they get to call everybody a sinner. But it's like they are sinners. It's more complicated than that. They're wrong to draw that line. Like the reason that line has power, the reason why Christianity has power, it means something to be a Christian, is because Christians are the ones that are identifiable. Christians are very identifiable in that they draw the line between themselves and wrongdoers. Like there's something to that. They do get to call people wrong who didn't make their entire reality right on purpose. Like Christians make it so that their reality is right. They read a lot into legalism, like the legalistic nature of the culture, that we're so dependent on the law, or that you can sue people over anything, and that it's like everything is run by rules and regulations. Like Christians find the law very important, and they base their reality around the law. And like for a number of denominations in Protestantism, it's based on the Bible, the biblical text, and they refer to it as the law. But it's important that like Christianity will do better in a culture that's very litigious, like America, where in America, where Americans have bigger consciences and you can be guilted into things in America, like, and certain groups like gays and Christians do well in America because they're able to guilt people into their respective religions, and that gay is a religion. I'll get to that in a minute, I guess, or just right now, but like, that's like Christians draw the line between themselves and sinners, between wrongdoing, because they're like, they make it so that they don't have to be wrong, and in the same respect that they worship a creator, like, they make it so that they are always subject to creation rather than that they would see it in themselves to create. But this is like, that's an important part of it. You're worshiping an omnipotent force you're always subject to. You're always as a Christian, you're always the representation, you're never the presentation. Jesus is the presentation. You are a representation. You are like Jesus in the Christian church. You're a Christian means Christ-like. You are a representation of Christ, but Christ is the presentation, Christ is the show, Christ is the plan, Christ is the imagination. You as a Christian are just riding on the coattails of that, but it's an important thing that, like, one thing that's always going to make you right is complete adherence to the law, or saying that the law always has power, like, and you do that by saying, we are not sinners, we are not wrongdoers. They make it so that everybody outside of themselves, the world, they do wrong, they are sinners, but they're allowed to do that because they are always right. It's just that what would be strange about it is complete adherence to the drama of right versus wrong, which it's like, you don't have to go into that, but if you make it so that you don't want to, you don't want to say the wrong thing or be leading anybody in the wrong direction, or you don't want to be responsible for anybody's misdeeds. You want to make sure that you're always taken care of so that you're not doing any wrong at any one point. Then you make it so that you have no creative ability to lead anybody in any direction, but instead you are like God, you're like Christ, rather than that you're ever the presentation that you have to dictate your own plans. And so, like, they draw the line at sinners. They draw the line at that, but it's like they maybe don't like creative forces. They're wary of them. They make creativity mysterious always. They assign creativity to God, where God is unquestionable authority that you don't really approach. I mean, you're like God, you don't approach from the way I'd say it, God, you don't approach Jesus, you have a relationship with Jesus. Whereas like Jesus is the approachable one, but you're supposed to fear God. And like adherence to the Creator, so that you're not creative ever. I think that Christians make it so that they are worried and afraid of creativity, because they make creativity and the Creator mysterious. They say that there's one Creator, rather than that they say that they could do any of that on their own. If they were saying they could do any of that on their own, they would be sinners. That's what sinning is to them. That's what wrongdoing is just like going out and saying things, believing in yourself, trusting in your own mindset, saying that you could do something, saying that you're God slightly. But this is what gives them the grounds to call all of those people wrong, which like literally they call them sinners, mark missers, is because they draw the line there. They draw the line at line drawing, at the law itself, where they're like, well, we're always right as long as we stay in here, because they are always right, as long as they make it so that they are never wrong. And they're never wrong if they're I mean, that's their separation. That's where they choose to make it. And I would say that they're going to have power and influence as long as the culture that they're centered in is very guilt driven. Like, Americans have a bigger conscience. They feel responsible for the entire world. That's why they're in everybody's backyard. But they think that they have to take care of the world, or that they're more important, they're more special to Americans. But it's like it's a natural thing. And I say that like gays do a similar thing. Like, gay culture and community can thrive in America because gays are able to guilt Christians even into buying into their whole thing. And like gay people, that's a reality. Like, gays are very real, but especially like gays, Jews, Christians are all very identifiable. Like, they're real. There's real and then there's fake. Now, that's not to say that there aren't Christians who are watered down, that don't make it so that you know that they're a Christian, and so those ones aren't as identifiable. But like, generally, arguments that are to be had over Christians or gays or Jews, these are driven by the identifiable members of these societies that generate all of the speaking points or arguments or interesting things. Like, the people who are identifiable generate more speaking points, or are more interesting because they're so consistent. But what I'm talking about is like, gays and Christians are similar because they are so identifiable. Like, if you're a Christian, you're staying on message all the time. You're authentic, you're real. You're like, it's a stated obvious thing. Like, when a gay person is gay, they are gay always. And like, this is consistent, this is identifiable. You can't ignore the reality of it. I would say that gay is very real. Christian, they make it a point to be very real, but like, it's a separate group of people, but they are like very identifiable because of their strong adherence to what they believe. I would say that these groups of people are very naturally stigmatizing, and not so like, they're stigmatized, yes, but they are also stigmatizing, and I say that in the respect that they're like polarizing. Like, they bring some of the stigma onto themselves by being so stigmatizing, do Christians and gay people. But like, I think it's the case that Christians and gays are more similar than people give it credit for. But like, Do I have to be, am I the only one that's going to say that? Do we always have to live in this antiquated way of thinking where we're like, Christians hate gays? For some reason, there's all these people that they like to defend their reason to not be in the Christian church by saying, well, I don't want to be around a bunch of people that hate gays or kill them. People say sometimes they're like, Christians kill gay people. And where exactly did that happen? That sounds kind of ridiculous. That's like saying, that's like saying all bulldogs are gonna maul you instantly or something. That's like, but also, where's your evidence for it, besides maybe it happened once or twice, like 100 years ago or something? The Christians are out killing gay people. That's false. That's incorrect. If anything, Christians are more concerned about gay people than people who aren't Christians. Like at this point, I would say it's not even accurate to say that Christians hate gay people or don't like them, because the Christian church has done a lot on its part to say that they accept gay people, and there's actually a lot of gays that go to church. Now, in the modern Christian church is very like overly welcoming, overly compassionate towards gays. And this is because Christians are a group of people that can be guilted into things, including they can be guilted into thinking that they're hateful to gays by gay people. Gay people guilt Christians into things, like guilt people into their drama, to the point that gays and Christians are involved in each other's drama, because Christians are one of the last groups of people that can still be guilted into thinking that they're homophobes. But like they are, because they're already naturally a guilty group of people. But like that's why the modern Christian church is just so accommodating to gays. But like gay is like a church. They aren't like the Christian church. The Christian church is different from the gay community. It's like the Christian cartel versus the gay cartel. And they both have their ways of establishing themselves and furthering their message and furthering their influence. But like gays are, it's like the establishment gay that has a lot of power politically. This isn't like this is the kind of gay that where it spreads gay stereotypes, but it's kind of like Christians are homophobic to gays because they're not very open-minded, or they just have closed-minded images of what a gay person is. I would say that Christians are a group of people that's more likely to see gays as just the sitcom version of them, where they think that that's what gay people are, because like they see what they act like as on a sitcom. They just have a more stereotyped view of what gay people are, because they see themselves as having to be separate from gays and wrongdoers. But it's like they are homophobic in some respects, because they're not going to see it as that they can intersect with gay at all, and that if they did, that they would probably be gay or something. They would see this, they see gay as so separate from the rest of society, would a Christian more so relatively than your average person, because they deal in stigmas and harsh separations from the world the same way that gay people do. But I'm just saying that these groups of people are similar, and it would be to the benefit of the gay community for groups of people to recognize how harsh the divide is from them, from the rest of the world, but not like, but only establishment gay, not actual, like there's plenty of gay people that wouldn't, like the same way that there's lots of Christians that aren't very identifiable, practice a more watered down message, there's lots of gay people that don't make it so that there has to be this very harsh divide between gay and the rest of the world. But like this is generally what we're trying to break down by seeing representations of gays on TV and movies or whatever. Is this stigma, is the dividing line between gay and the rest of the world. What we're presumably supposed to be trying to break down is that, like, what we would be trying to evolve towards is the destruction of the gay community in reality, the LGBT community, that there's this establishment, this cartel that's like politically designed to further the agenda, like make money, maybe make money in some way. Like a community, I mean, I don't know what their infrastructure looks like, that they have like leadership, that anybody's making money off of that, but it's like the destruction of that community is what we would need to do to evolve to a more greater understanding of gay people. Like a greater understanding of gay people would just be that across the board, relatively everybody recognizes that they are somewhat relative to gay, that they would do that somewhat, or like see it in themselves to some extent. Like that would be a greater understanding, just like across the board, a greater acceptance of it. Seeing that gay is within humanity and not so much just like resigned to a group of people. Like gay is just, it is a human thing. Like obviously that happens. It's just like a thing. A greater understanding of that would be the destruction of the harshness of the label, but it's like Christians are one of the few groups of people that would still respect the harshness of a label of gay. This is why they're homophobic and why gays are able to guilt them into liking them or whatever. Something like at this point, it's kind of like the two groups are more connected, but in that way, because it's like more gay people go to church, and Christian Message makes it a point to say that they're very inclusive of gays, where it's like your average person doesn't have to go that far to be like, no, I'm very inclusive of gay people, because they're not being guilted into being right or wrong about things. Like Christians always have to be right. So in that respect, they are tying themselves in with the legal system of America. Like, so that at the point that legally gays are accepted too, like in America, there are more laws accept them. This is the point at which the Christian church evolves, really. It's the point at which the Christian church evolves to say that, yeah, it's right to accept gay people. At the point that it becomes legally right, because they're very much interested in legal matters, are the Christian church. And it's not just like Baptists necessarily, but Baptists are interested in it because like Baptists they put a lot of power in the special sentences that you say, that you have to say them in order, like you have to, in order to have access to the special sentences or the relationship with the Almighty, you have to not recant the sentences and go to church. Like, you have to not recant the sentences as long as you're a Christian. Like the sentences of Jesus died for my sins. But like this is a special technology of sorts that Protestants got a hold of, but it's like sacred. These are the sacred texts. Like Protestantism and Baptist theology isn't like Scientology, because they give you all the sacred texts up front, like right away, rather than that they have this hidden information. So it's interesting that like it's a different format that you would keep coming back for that, but it's basically like you have to keep coming back to the Christian church because otherwise you lose access to the sentences that you said. But it's like at the point that you recant, if you say the sentences, Jesus died for my sins. I mean, it's based on, like, Christianity is based on these clauses that you have to say, these sentences. It's about a relationship to sentences. It's not about a relationship to Jesus. If it was about a relationship to Jesus, then you should call your church Jesus Church or Christ Church, or you should call your religion Jesus. You shouldn't call it Christianity. If it's Christianity, this means Christ likeness. It doesn't mean Christ. It doesn't mean Christ. If it's Christ likeness, this is like you're always a representation, but like but it's just that the relationship you're talking about is dictated in this followership. Like you always have to be a follower of Jesus. But like what I'm arguing is that Christianity is based around a relationship to sentences, because you say the sentences, these like clauses of Jesus died for my sins, and Jesus died for my sins, and I ask him to come into my heart, and I'm a sinner, and I want to be with him for eternity. I believe that he died on the cross for me, and I want him to forgive me of my sins and wash me white as snow so I can be forever with him. In Jesus' name, amen. If you say these clauses, so this is like a special technology that Protestants got a hold of that's protected within their church. You have to go to the church to find it, and so like there's mystery and intrigue at the heart of anything that's making lots of money. But like that they're making lots of money, like it's not like money is their intention, but it's more just like power and influence is their intention. But it's like Christians always say you don't want to gain the whole world and lose your soul, because you don't want to go into sinful territory. You're not going to gain anything. There's nothing successful or really long-lasting to be gained in a successful life in the world. Like seeing yourself successful alongside worldly people isn't actual success, because this happens in this wrongdoing space. And so it's not because it happens in the wrongdoing space, but it's not real success because you're real Real success is in eternal things, but they're like, you can't gain the whole world and lose your soul. Like it's not worth it to be successful in the world. So don't even try, because you're just going to lose your soul anyway, or you're just going to die or something like that. But it's really the case that Christian church versus any individual average person that's trying to make their way in the world, who would you say between these two entities is doing its part to gain the whole world? Is it the group that has already has 20% of the world population? Or is it just an individual person opening a business? Is it an individual person opening a business to try to make money, potentially, if they're very ambitious, make millions of dollars? Is an individual person trying to make this money more trying to gain the world than the Christian church, who has 20% of the world population already and way more millions of dollars than any individual person could ever get? Who would you say is in the business of trying to gain the whole world? Christianity is what I would ask. Yeah, big emphatic moment. Boom. I'm a clown. I'm a tool. I'm a loser. Sorry. No, I'm a loser. I'm wrong sometimes or whatever. But it's like Christianity is a decorated version of Christ. That's why it's the ianity is thrown onto it. There's extra decoration and decorum and rules and regulations involved. Like, it's not Christ, it is Christ. Christianity is Christenness in different versions of it, that you're like, it's a worship. But basically any denomination, like Methodist churches, offer a derivative of Christ, a specific interpretation that's different from Baptist theology, different from Lutheran theology. Methodist offers some specific derivative from biblical text, and they're derivatives of the Bible. Basically, they're derivatives of the Bible. So it's like Baptist theology is based in biblical theology, based in biblical text, but it's the sentences that they come up with that you need to say are derivative of things that you find in the Bible. But it's important to house your basis, like to center your religion in the Bible, because the Bible has proven itself to be such a big money maker, basically. Like, it's good, and not that Christianity is doing things in the name of making money. It's just that the Bible is a huge money maker, is a huge cash cow the world over. Like, it's the #1 selling book ever. Like, it's the #1 selling book ever, and all of these religions that make tons of money have their basis in it. It's just that Baptist has taken away a different concoction, recipe of statements from the Bible to deliver a certain product and a certain message that is different from the product of Lutheranism. Baptists may be like a physical act that you tie yourself to. They want something practical. They want something evident. They're like, well, when you're baptized, this is a decision you made. You made a decision, you got baptized, this act. It isn't like you're a baby and water gets sprinkled on you to get baptized. Like, that's kind of ambiguous that the baby is involved. Like, Baptists want a physical act. They want you to physically recite the sentences, and now you're good forever. It's just like people who want something practical absolution for all of their sins, like in a single act, summarize it to a single saying of words, is what Baptists want, as opposed to Lutheranism is just like, what are they doing necessarily? Like, if it's not exactly evident, they're a bit more confusing or ambiguous, that they're like tied to a single word. But then like Methodist or Presbyterian or Episcopalian, they're all different abstract versions, but they all want something slightly different that's based around the product that they've created from what they gathered from like a biblical basis. I guess I don't know for sure if Episcopalian, Presbyterian are based in the Bible, but basically, like, I mean, maybe Baptists more based in the Bible, but like all of these churches have a different interpretation of the Bible than each other. All these denominations do. But this is the point of denominations, is that they are derivatives. Each one of them offers a different derivative product. They're different derivatives or different names. That's why different churches have different names. But the denomination derivative names are given to across all kinds of Protestant churches. All have different names from each other, and then a different name of a church offers you a different religion. Like, a Church of God is a religion, as opposed to that Baptist is a religion. Like Grace, like Church of God churches have their religion. It's like based in the name. But like the sentence is like the Bible is a big money maker. Shake your money maker. The Bible? You mean the Bible? Christians shake their money maker. They drop it. They drop their ass low. They bring it back up. They twerk that Bible in your face whenever they want. They shake that money maker. They shake the Bible in your face. The Bible makes so much money. The Bible makes so much money. It makes a lot more money than the Quran. It makes more money than the Quran. That's because English people are better at making money than Arabs. It's as simple as that. You know that English people are better at making money than Arabs are. Like, Arabs are good at it. They can try. They're good at it. They can make Dubai. They can make a giant city skyline that looks like an Americanized, monetized skyline. They can make one. But it's empty. It's not alive. There's nothing real at the heart of it. They don't believe in the skyline. They don't believe, like, the money making isn't in their blood. It isn't who they are. It's not what they were already doing. It's not their given activity. It's not what they were born to do, like the English. Like, Americans can make a giant city skyline, and they also meant it, so there's actually a thriving city built around it. Arabs try to capture that by making a giant monetized, Americanized looking skyline, but they can't. Dubai is just empty. But it's like, so Arabs can make lots of money, but that's not what they do primarily, originally. In the same way that, like, English is what visibly is spoken by everybody, to the point that, like, in 20 years, everybody's going to be speaking English. That's because the English are better at making themselves visible, but they're better at making money. English people and English derivatives like America, but Americans all speak English. People who speak English, it's just that the Bible is written in English more for English people. I'm saying that English and Christian religions that go along with English people, like, and Americans. Well, I mean, I guess just like Catholicism is more Spanish or whatever, but still Spanish is, I think it's a Romance language, but it's a European language. Maybe I'm just talking about European as opposed to Arab, like European, but like English religions that are like the Bible. England is better at making themselves visible, hence the British Empire. The sun never sets on the British Empire. That's because they make themselves relative to every place in the world. They're able to do that as Brits, but like, it's just that the promulgation, the circulation of the Bible and English things that make money are circulated and are visible. The things that make the most money are present in the most places, like that there's 30,000 Wendy's worldwide. This is because they have a great presence and they're like making millions of dollars because they're everywhere. But it's like, it caught on, the invention of that caught on, it became visible, and like, because it is everywhere, like things that are everywhere are making the most money because I mean, and just as a result of that, things that are very visible, like present in many different locations and very evident that there's many examples of them in the world, are they're making the most money. But this is what the English language is. This is because English people are better at visibility, they're better at making money. They're the one, their language is being given to the entire world, in the same way that the Bible is the most, like, the Bible is more English than it, like, I guess you wouldn't say that it was necessarily English. It's just that Christians practice it, and Christians are more associated with Europeans and England and Europeans in America. Like, it's an English text, like primarily English text, that would get circulated the most, that it would be the most visible, that it would make the most money, but it's from a group of people that are better at making money. But it's just like the visibility of it goes along with the money making endeavors of it. But it's good as a church or as a religion to base your theology or your whole thing, like your central theme in the Bible, because the Bible is so encrypted. It's so encrypted. It's very encrypted. You see, this is why it's able to last so long. This is why it's able to be relevant and be true in every single era. It's able to do that because of its ability to be encrypted or have many different interpretations read into it. But it is that because you see that it is that, like, factually, truthfully, because it houses these stories that are central to the very primitive, most primitive human races. But it's like, it houses these stories about the origins of humanity, like origin stories. And so I would say that there's something very truthful and honest about what they're portraying in something like Adam and Eve, because this is the origin story of humanity, and whatever way, like, it didn't, I would say that it didn't necessarily go down the way that it's said in the Bible, but like the truth behind it is probably very true. But that they house all these origin type stories that are always true to the theme of the story, to the story of humanity, makes it relevant always, but it's like it's very encrypted in that way because it has just high level ability to be encrypted. Like, because its encryption is such that you would, like, a story that's as old as humanity basically, but that still is relevant, like like the first story of humanity would have the most would be pretty mysterious, would be pretty undefinable. Like, most of the time because all stories would be coming off of the original stories as derivatives of them, but it's like, to the extent that we like stories, we like film, we like TV, like, the original story is in the Bible. Like, the Bible kind of already covers these. It's like the Bible sort of already covers all the stories that we could create, especially Jesus, or like the significance of that. Somebody dying and rising again is like as best you could do for a story, because defeating death is like defeating that your life would be a closed interval or have a beginning and an ending, like a story is. But the defeating of death makes your message pretty encrypted, if, like, as far as people believing it, but like its circulation that is so widespread. I just decided to be a little more sacrilegious today, but Wendy's is a problem in the world. If you live in the Columbus area, there's this problem that I've noticed there's this relationship between Highway 23 and Wendy's restaurants, that there's like too many Wendy's on Highway 23. There's too many of them. It's like all along the way. I think that this is unnatural doing. I think that this is not what God intended. That there's this many Wendy's on Highway 23. It's like there's Wendy's on them, more so than you'd say about any other restaurant. You can't go a quarter of a mile on Highway 23 without there being a fucking Wendy's. There's Wendy's. There are Wendy's so much on this road, you might as well call it Wendy's Road. There are so many Wendy's, but it's like Wendy's originated in Columbus. They started them out here, but also Wendy, the person that it's named after, she's this real woman, and she lives in Columbus. Like, she lives like 15 minutes from me or something. She lives in this Wendy person that all these restaurants are named after. Like, she's there. And the thing about Wendy's is it's like, it's called Wendy's. And what's bizarre is that at some point 10 years ago, Wendy's is like, they're like, fuck it, we're red, we're the reddest restaurant, we're the reddest establishment, we are the color red. I don't fucking care if people look at our restaurant and forget that it's Wendy's, so much as they associate us with the color red. They're like, we're red, we're blood red, we're fucking crimson red, we are the red that people want the most. That's what we are now. We're gonna make ourselves so red, we're gonna make ourselves in line with whatever red it is that gives you the most serotonin. We're gonna be the dopamine red from now on, and it's just like the red that people want, the red that people get off to. That's the red that we're gonna be. We're ketchup, we're bacon, we're red, and that's all that we are now. That's exactly what we are. People are gonna know that they're gonna go to our restaurant, eat the sugariest, reddest ketchup possible, and that's the commitment that they made like about 10 years ago for whatever reason, that they're like, we're the red restaurant now. But what I want to know about Wendy's is just like, you got to think about it. You got to think about Wendy's. It's called Wendy's. It's not called Wendy. You don't go to Wendy's and then you're like, oh, I visited Wendy. You don't go. It's not named after this girl named Wendy, and it's just Wendy. It's actually possessed by Wendy. It's Wendy's. Everything in there is Wendy's, apparently, from what I can tell, from the title from what they're saying about themselves. This is their own title. This is what they're saying about themselves. This is what they are bringing on the world as. But it's like you go to Wendy's now, you are part of what Wendy owns. But it's like it's Wendy's. It's not Wendy. Think of how abstract that would be. That would be like more of an art piece. It'd be more obviously an art piece. It's already an art piece because it's just a concoction of events. It's just a creation. It's just a product. The restaurant is a product. It's a specific creation that like there's ingredients involved. Every single chair in a Wendy's restaurant looks like chairs in Wendy's look the same in every single Wendy's. The floor in Wendy's looks the same. It's this product, it's this creation. It's a product, but like the burger is also the creation. It's a masterpiece or something. Like this is the thing. This is Wendy's. But it's like Wendy's, what does Wendy own exactly? Is it every burger that comes out of there? Is it the restaurant? Is it the people that work inside of it? What is Wendy? It is Wendy apostrophe S. It's Wendy's. This burger place is called a possessive. That it welcome to Wendy's. It's like her house or something. Like this is a place. They're acting like this is this woman's house. They're acting like there's a woman named Wendy. It's her house, but yet there is a real woman named Wendy that's living in the world. And she's actually alive. Like, how would you not call her a living legend? Like, maybe we should lessen what we think is a living legend, or lessen the respect we give to that term, or who we consider to be one, because Wendy is a living legend, certainly, right? Isn't that exactly what? She's a legend because she is everywhere. She's like in 23 different countries, while residing in a place, while just being a person that resides in a place. She's also in 23 different countries at the same time. And it's really like, could you imagine being her and she's like, well, I'll probably, like, she's walking around being tied to Wendy's restaurants. She's like, that you would be anything other than that. She's like, well, I'm probably always going to be defined by the 30,000 global locations that bear my name worldwide. Primarily, I think that's what people are going to remember me by. That's what people are going to remember mostly. That she's going to do anything else after this, when she is in China right now, when there's 30,000 locations that bear her name that are her, that named after her. That, like, I'm pretty sure that's what we're going to remember, that she's going to try to do anything else in her life. Like, she's also she's a respected engineer. She's a respected electrical engineer. She's contributed a lot to the world of art design, to the world of architecture. Like, she tries to be a decently respected person in architecture. I don't think that she'll be able to do that. I think you're screwed, Wendy. Sorry, Wendy. But it's just like, you gotta wonder what Wendy is up to. You gotta look at that situation. You gotta look at that situation and wonder what a person like that is up to. You have to figure it out. What is she doing that she's able to bear her namesake to 30,000 different locations? Hi, I'm Wendy, and that is Wendy's. This is Wendy's. Welcome. This is Wendy. No, this is Wendy's place. It's not Wendy. You don't go to Wendy. They're like, it's Wendy. What if they called it that? They would probably not be that successful. This is just like a casual, like, you never know. It's just like one of your friends, like, oh yeah, we're going to, that's why they fucking name it that. So like, oh, well, we're just going to Wendy's. We're going to her house. Like, it's someone you know. We're going, oh, and it just so happens that at this house, there's very specifically a bunch of burgers are made out of it. Lots of fries and soda. It's like, what happens to take place at this house, a very specific set of events where it's like burgers are always made. Like, there's a lot of grills. There's a lot more grills and kitchen activity than in an average house, interestingly enough. It's almost as like I went into a Wendy's and I came to the conclusion that because I'm pretty intuitive, I figured out, I see through things. I don't take it at face value. Like, I see through things when there's something there. And what's happening at Wendy's is kind of more than like a regular address. There's people, there's a pattern of that there's more cash registers than if it was somebody's house. I'm starting to presume that it's not necessarily, and also there's nobody named Wendy in there. this is not necessarily a place like that you go, somebody's residence, and it's owned by Wendy, as it is some sort of pattern, chain of events that can be defined by Wendy, because I've seen others of these. You know, you might want to get to the bottom of what's going on in Wendy's and figure out that it's not actually a residence, but you never know. Maybe it is. Maybe there is a Wendy inside. Have any of you ever worked at one? You don't know for sure. It's all hearsay that it isn't a Wendy's house. It's all hearsay, like she's not living in the freezer. There has to be a Wendy. That's the secret at the heart of it. That's what's so undefinable about it. It's like Wendy's took that. What if that was their artistic bent? What if they realized that it's all just an art piece that they're doing? This is an invention. This is a creation of somebody. But they're like, what secretly is happening? And this secret from all of the workers, like this conspiracy where everybody's not giving away who's worked at Wendy's, not giving away that there's a girl named Wendy that's in every freezer in every Wendy's. That would be a conspiracy for the ages. That would make my heart light. That would make me happy. Why aren't people making bullshit up? Like, why aren't people going further? Why aren't people more authentic? Don't you want to be real? Don't you want to be something more than, like, if you were more than a fast food restaurant, like, all of these fast food restaurants are like, we're more than that. We're different because we have these burgers, we have these patties. If you're more than a fast food restaurant, take it as far. McDonald's, there should be a Ronald McDonald under, like, in the dining area, secretly hidden, or there should be a secret compartment where some strange seance of McDonald activity is happening under the floorboards or something, where it's like this McDonald's, like there's very virulent McDonald's activity here, and it is undeniable. It happens, it doesn't just happen when you're eating a burger, the magic of that, but also, like, if you really want your restaurant to be more than the thing, there should be some secret clairvoyant shit happening, like somewhere people can't see, and it's like worshipful of McDonald's. Like, there should be energy being paid in the direction of McDonald's in every McDonald's that's very spiritual, that very controversial, that people would be very offended if they found out about. Like, you need to go that far. You really want to be authentic, you really want to be something. Like, I want to know, I want there to be conspiracies. Like, if there's something real, and like if there's really something real about your shit, make it. I want more than cows. I don't want it to be that. Like, obviously cows are very sacred. Obviously there's something very money-making is sacred about cows for whatever reason. Like, at the point that there's cows, then there is money for whatever reason. Then you captured the power of that. You captured the magical power of cows, and people in India already do it. They just do it in that religious sense, as opposed to that they make it so that you have to go to cash registers and worship at the altar of the cow in that respect, and make sacrifices in terms of your money to exchange that for the cow. Like, that religious, like, there's that religious ceremony of worship of cows that happens at a McDonald's, and then there's the Hinduism one too, and those are just, I mean, they're just comparable religions, but like, the religion of McDonald's is held together in a different way than the religion of Wendy's, where it's like, McDonald's, I feel like McDonald's workers are more respectful of their position, but this is the line that McDonald's draws. They're like more, they're more into themselves, or they instill fear into their workers. This is what I gather from McDonald's workers. There's more fear, like they're worried about doing wrong. They're like more under some sort of oppression. They're more pressured into making it so that they're doing right. For whatever reason, this is what happens in McDonald's, but they've been able to instill this across many different locations. It must just be a managerial, it must just be like the way of doing it. It's just, they have a tradition, and then this comes through to management somehow, where management maybe is seen as more reverential than managements in other restaurants. But like other fast food, where it's like you're not usually finding a lazy McDonald's, because I think it's because for whatever reason they instill fear into their workers more. Like, you should be worried more if you work at a McDonald's, because they're more like, oh yeah, like as if they're more behind the McDonald's name or some shit like that. But like, I'm a little bit worried about that. Fast food workers are getting too high on themselves, are getting a little bit indignant, because the world has finally come to meet them where they're at a little bit, where the world is finally like seeing it their way. Like, these people work really hard, maybe they deserve a higher minimum wage. But I think that this is causing fast food workers to take it upon themselves to think that there's these understood rules about you respecting them. Like, you can't roll, they act as if you can't roll up to one 5 minutes before it closes anymore. I mean, like, But like, if you're at a restaurant, here's the thing though. If like I roll up to Wendy's 5 minutes before it closes, I ask you to make something. If you're at a restaurant that would respect me for doing that rather than just ignoring my dumbass, if you're at a place where the environment is such that you feel guilty if you don't help the customer, you should be working somewhere else. You should be working at a place that doesn't have as high of standards. Like, don't put yourself in that position. Work at a place that's just gonna shut down 2 hours before you close because you don't give a fuck about the higher ups. Like, this is not my fault. I'm not saying that this necessarily ever happened in my life, but it's just that Wendy's, like, you should have a Wendy in your freezer, dead or alive, in every single restaurant so that I know that there's reason to come back because of the strength of your artistic appeal, rather than that, oh, your artistic appeal is in that your burger patty is square. You think that is going far enough that you made a different shape of your patty? Oh, wow. How impressive. I didn't know that anybody, square instead of circle. Good job. Wow. Do you know how to make triangle burger? My, you really are Wendy's. Holy shit. You didn't know when to stop. Fuck you. Fuck you, Wendy's. You didn't know how. You didn't know that it's just like, here's a secret recipe. But that's how people sell you on the mystique, and that they make money that way, as if there's a secret recipe. Or like sometimes they're like, this is how we craft our burgers. This is the Wendy's way. They try to make it more mysterious because when there is mystery, there is money to be made. But like, there's a secret recipe. But if you're really going to be fucking mysterious, okay, there should be some strange things going on. George Soros should occupy a Wendy's once every few days. So, like, talk to the management. George Soros should go into a prominent, very visible Wendy's, very popular. People are like, holy shit, that's George Soros in the kitchen. Where people, like, you should introduce that into your thing so people are fucking worried about what's going on. George Soros should appear visible, like, and he's just like whispering to people. You're like, holy shit, George Soros was seen at this Wendy's. And then the conspiracy theorists are going to get a hold of that, and they're going to be like, do you know that that pedophiles run their scheme through, that like human trafficking is run exclusively through Wendy's? George Soros was seen at a Wendy's in Albany, New York, and this is not lost on us. We saw him. We saw you, George Soros, wherever George Soros is. Conspiracy man. What a hero to all of us. What a promising future that he invites, that we can look to a guy like George Soros and hate him in fear and confusion forever, just because of his sequencing of appearances, just by him appearing in a certain places and the chain and sequence and timing of them, just because of his frequency of actions, he becomes a symbol of confusion and mystery and conspiracy. Fantastic. Great work, George Soros. We love you. We love you, George Soros. You're the man. And don't deny your love for George Soros. Don't protect against it. Don't defend against it. You gotta let it happen. You gotta let it happen. If George Soros is more and more in your life, you gotta embody. You gotta let him in. You gotta let that guy. He needs love just like anybody else does. Everybody needs love. George Soros probably more than anybody. George Soros. It's just that if you're gonna be loving towards everybody, why don't we love like globalists that actually just want to slaughter thousands? Or like, what about the people that hate people so much that they want to kill all of them literally? Like, don't ignore and deny that person exists. The person who needs the most love is the person who actually hates love the most and will always hate it consistently until they die. The person who needs love the most is the person most defined by their hatred. So like, we really need to love everybody, including the people who most need it. And so then like Jeffrey Dahmer, like, love him, but you're not going to go into prison or whatever, serial killer. The people who need love the most are the people who are always going to be separate from it, no matter what, that there's nothing you could do in terms of love. The people that really need love the most will never intersect themselves with it, or something like that. You're gonna give it his compassion to everybody. Ignorance. Let's just slap a compassion over because I was kind. You know how fucking easy it is to be kind? anyone can be all the time. Anybody, it's just, you know how easy it is to put a smile for somebody you're passing in the hallway? That's probably the easiest, most convenient thing you could do. You really don't want to inconvenience yourself. Everything should be peace. And I just wish that people were more compassionate, that there's more compassion in the world. When compassion is perpetuated and perpetrated by the easy going, just by the people who just are like, oh, whatever, people who aren't getting their hands dirty, are very compassionate. Where's the compassion? It's just, where's the compassion for where's the compassion in the neighbor that was neighbors with a serial killer, and then that serial killer was killing all these people, and then they're like, then they interview the neighbor on the news, and they're like, I had no idea that he was a killer. Well, maybe you should have spent less time being compassionate. Where did all your compassion and kindness and looking the other way, giving someone the benefit of the doubt, compassion and understanding of another human, where did that pay off for you in terms of all the people that he killed? That you're allowed this amount of naiveness just to say that compassion should abound when that's just so much easier. How much did the compassion come through to the people that were murdered? And it's just that way. And let me explain why gay people are a religion. It's because they're, like, to the extent that they're identifiable, this isn't all gay people, but like ones that would hold you to the harsher standards of it. It's like you always have to be gay at the point that you are a little bit. I'd say that the gay community kind of treats gay like it's a sin a little bit, where they hold it over to you. They hold it over somebody who's gay. Like if you're a stone's throw too far gay, then your sexuality is the rest of the world's business, and you have to confess it. You have to confess you're gay to everybody at the point that you're too gay. This is like gay community pressures gay people who are gay or like on the fringes of it or might find gay in themselves into being gay by saying you have to confess it to everybody. They treat it like it's a sin, that you have to be, I don't know, that it's like now something that you have to define yourself by forever. And it's the same way that Christians get a hold of people who are worried about being wrong, or they think that you have to be right because maybe for whatever reason they think that it is the most important thing ever to be right, or they're so worried about being wrong, or maybe they're more responsible, they see leadership more in themselves or something. They want to deny having to be responsible more so than other people, and so they get guilted into the reality of right versus wrong more so than other people. It's just that different realities and different dramas call out to different people. And based on who you are, you might get sucked into some of them, and you have the right to do that, and you can do that, and you might be more in the business of being real, or you might be more in the business of being fake. If you like to be real, you like to be authentic, you might be very identifiable, you might commit yourself consistently to gay, and it's like there's nothing wrong with doing that. You might just like be consistently gay, that you're always definable to that, you're very identifiable in that way, where you can say that you are, because maybe being identifiable is more important to you. So identifiability is reserved for the more identifiable, more polarizing religions. Maybe you always want to be stigmatizing and polarizing in that way, that calls out to you. And it's just that, like, the gay church pressures, establishment gay will pressure it like that, where it's, I think they treat it like it's a sin. I think they do. They're like, you have to confess, like there's something, you have to say it. But all that aside, we're talking about, we're talking about, here we're talking about, yeah, shake that money maker. Please shake that money maker. Do it. Please find it in yourself. It's just that shake that money maker. Don't deny yourself the right to shake that money maker. Don't ignore that you wanted to. Shake it. Shake your money. This is your privilege now. This is your opportunity. We are now, as long as you know, like that song came out, you can shake your money maker. Oh wait, I can? Are you serious? I had no idea. I was living in this very closed-minded world. I didn't know who I was. The song Shake Your Money Maker came out, and I was a different person, because then at the point that I knew that I could shake my money maker, that was when it all changed, because things are different when in a world where you're shaking it as opposed to not. You're shaking it. I was just maneuvering it before. That's all that I was doing. It was just up and down, is very machine-like. I was just automating my ass originally. The point that I knew that I could shake it, there's just so much more nuances involved. There's very different movements that they're all like, who would be able to describe any one of the very microscopic individual movements that happen across all the muscles in your ass? When you can't describe it at the point you're able to shake it. It's so many movements all at once, so you just have to define it to shaking. That I didn't have the ability to do that before, and now I know it's in my vocabulary. I can speak on it, and now that I speak on it, knowledge is power. Now I know. Seeing it is believing, and I just see it in my mind, and in knowing that I can shake it. I just want to shake it further. Shake your money maker, shake your money, shake your money maker, shake your money maker, shake your, please shake. That should have been the song. It's just that. Shake your money, shake your money maker, shake. Do. I start off with a different song to shake your money maker. Shake that ass, girl. I never knew life until I knew I could shake that ass, girl. But, so it's an indecent exposure of sorts that you're getting with today's episode. I apologize. The visuals are not my own, they're for you. The visual is up to you. I'm just saying words. That you make a visual on it, that's your fucking responsibility. I'm sorry that I would communicate ass and then you would envision what that would look like. My ass is not your ass. Do you know what I mean? Duh. You should have known that before. Fuck you for not knowing it. It's just that Rihanna comes out with the song, Sex With Me Is Amazing. And, yes, Rihanna, I would imagine sex with you is amazing. What is the point that you're making? What are you saying? What are you saying necessarily? Isn't the whole point, Rihanna, that we look at you and we're like, oh, she's hot. Sex with her would be amazing. Sex with me is amazing. Like, if you made a song that was Sex With Me Is Not Amazing, that would have pushed the envelope more, I think. I would have been more intrigued. It would have been like, oh, why? Why is that? Tell me more. Tell me more. Why is Sex With You not amazing? Isn't the whole point with we're like, sex with Rihanna would be amazing, I bet. She really took a lot of the mystery out of the situation. Like, by telling us exactly, by giving it away. Like, oh, okay, yeah, of course, yeah. Sex with Rihanna would be... She should have written Sex with Rihanna would be amazing, possibly. That should have been the title of that song. Sex maybe would not be amazing, but possibly so with Rihanna. Duh. Sex with I is contingent on a few conditions. It's just that did you know about the mystery? Did you know about it? Did you know about the mystery? Do you know about the concoction of sentences, the technology sentences that Christians got a hold of? I'm just saying that if it's about a relationship with Jesus, I can have a relationship with Jesus outside of the sentences. Like, I could be like, oh, Jesus wasn't a guy. That guy didn't live. He didn't die on a cross. He didn't even exist. And I can still be like, oh, but I have a relationship with Jesus. I can have a relationship with Jesus and believe in nothing that Christians do. That's why religions outside of Christianity